Welcome to Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. Mary, Queen of the Universe, Orlando, Florida, United States. Introduction. The Basilica of the National Shrine of Mary, Queen of the Universe is a Roman Rite basilica located in Orlando, Florida at Vineland Avenue. It was built to service the large number of Catholic tourists who visit the attractions in the greater Orlando area. While it is a 2,000-seat church of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Orlando and provides Mass for the faithful, it has also become a regional tourist attraction. In 2009, it was designated as the 63rd minor basilica in the United States. Since it is not a parish, only the Sacraments of Reconciliation and the Holy Eucharist are celebrated. No weekly bulletins are distributed. The shrine consists of the main church, the Rosary Garden, the Mother and Child Outdoor Chapel, the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, the Shrine Museum, and a gift shop. After the grand opening of Walt Disney World in Lake Buena Vista, Florida, the Diocese of Orlando determined that the thousands of Catholics visiting from around the world needed a place to attend Mass. The diocese arranged for Masses at several area hotels, and in the spring of 1975 Bishop Thomas Grady placed Father Faulkner Joseph Hart in charge of tourism ministry. With projections predicting over 30 million annual visitors to Greater Orlando in the 1970s, Father Hart and Bishop Grady worked to establish a permanent location. In 1979, property was purchased for a new facility, named under the patronage of the Virgin Mary. On December 8, 1984, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, enough funds had been raised to break ground for the first phase of construction. Within 2 years, the initial facility was completed, and on November 23, 1986, the Feast of Christ the King, the first phase was blessed by Archbishop Pio Laghi, Papal Nuncio to the United States. Phase 1 included landscaping, a building to use as a church and offices, and a bell tower. On August 22, 1990, the Feast of the Queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary, ground was broken for a main church that would seat as many as 2,000 people. "We want the shrine to be a temple, a sacred place to give glory to God and honor our Mother," said Bishop Norbert Dorsey. "Above all, we want it to be a spiritual home, a real hearth." At long last, on January 31, 1993, the first Mass was celebrated in the new church. And on August 22, 1993, the church was dedicated. Archbishop Pio Laghi was once again present. Bishop Dorsey proclaimed a day of great rejoicing and asked God's grace upon all who would be drawn to the shrine. The use of the title Mary, Queen of the Universe, is drawn from Section 59 of Lumen Gentium, the dogmatic constitution on the Church issued in 1964 by the Second Vatican Council, which stated, "Finally, the Immaculate Virgin, preserved free from all guilt of original sin, on the completion of her earthly sojourn, was taken up body and soul into heavenly glory, and exalted by the Lord as Queen of the Universe, that she might be the more fully conformed to her Son, the Lord of Lords and the conqueror of sin and death." This usage could reflect Orlando's connection to nearby Cape Canaveral, the liftoff point for America's crewed space program, as spaceflight was likely the inspiration for the term. Cape Canaveral is part of the Diocese of Orlando. In 2004, Archbishop Thomas Wensky petitioned the USCCB to ask for the shrine to be elevated from a diocesan to a national shrine. The petition was granted and national was added to the name. The National Conference of Catholic Bishops held their spring convocation here in 2008. On July 17, 2009, Pope Benedict XVI declared the shrine a minor basilica because of its ministry to the estimated 500,000 pilgrims and tourists. History of Basilica of Mary, Queen of the Universe. The roots for the founding of what was to become the Basilica of the National Shrine of Mary, Queen of the Universe go back to the very history of the settlement of Central Florida. Adventurous pioneers began homesteading the pine scrub and lake-studded wilderness of Central Florida in the 1830s and 40s looking for land and a new life. Cattle and cotton became king. General farming was also practiced, but a new era began in the 1870s with the planting of orange groves. The coming of the railroads opened up the area to more and more settlers and visitors. As early as the turn of the century, the area was becoming a tourism destination with people arriving from all over the country and world. Growth continued with the opening of more and more businesses and industries until that pivotal year of 1966 when a California businessman named Walt Disney bought land to open what was called Walt Disney World. Tourism was now becoming king. Thousands upon thousands of Catholics arrived in the area to visit all the new attractions that were opening. The question and concern quickly became, how does the church minister to all these visitors? In 1974, just before his departure to become Archbishop of Baltimore, Bishop William D. Borders appointed Father William Corey to open a mission in the Bay Hill area and to be responsible for masses for tourists in Lake Buena Vista and the Disney community. Before this got off the ground, Father Corey was reassigned in 1975, and under the direction of Bishop Thomas J. Grady, Father, now Monsignor, Joseph Hart took on the service of growing a tourism, hotel ministry. The planned Bay Hill mission became instead Holy Family Parish, and Monsignor Hart became its first pastor. His new parish became the center for the ministry. Under his committed and inspired leadership, the dedicated people of his parish tried to help visitors get to Mass on Sundays, and they established a ministry in 4 hotels. Bishop Grady came to the conclusion that the ministry could be more effective if there was a church conveniently located to Disney World and the theme park area. Because the diocese is consecrated to Mary, the Mother of God, it was decided to name the proposed diocesan shrine Church Mary, Queen of the Universe. The intention was also to honor Christ the King, to proclaim to the millions passing on I-4 that the kingdom of Christ is present in Central Florida. Monsignor Hart spearheaded the project, committing his considerable vision and energy to its management. Such a huge undertaking required the purchase of land and funds with which to build a church, and so it began. By 1979, a 17-acre tract was purchased near I-4. On December 8, 1984, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, enough funds had been raised to break ground for the first phase of construction. Within 2 years, the initial facility was completed, and on November 23, 1986, the Feast of Christ the King, the first phase was blessed by Archbishop Pio Laghi, Papal Nuncio to the United States. Phase 1 included landscaping, a building to use as a church and offices, and a bell tower. On August 22, 1990, the Feast of the Queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary, ground was broken for a main church that would seat as many as 2,000 people. We want the shrine to be a temple, a sacred place to give glory to God and honor our Mother, said Bishop Norbert Dorsey. Above all, we want it to be a spiritual home, a real hearth. At long last, on January 31, 1993, the first Mass was celebrated in the new church. And on August 22, 1993, the church was dedicated. Archbishop Pio Laghi was once again present. Bishop Dorsey proclaimed a day of great rejoicing and asked God's grace upon all who would be drawn to the shrine. During the planning and building of the shrine, a number of craftspeople and artists were engaged in creating furnishings and sacred art. Art and artists have always had an integral role in assisting the Church at prayer. Sacred art should beautifully serve the dignity of worship and be expressive of the Church's faith in the mystery of God, and the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. Since the church is primarily the gathering place for God's people to celebrate the Eucharist, the sanctuary appointments must be seen as the central pieces of sacred art which boldly express the beauty of Christian fellowship and celebration of the salvific event. The grounds of the shrine include a Rosary Garden, an outdoor chapel, and bell tower. A pond spanned by a bridge is home to turtles, fish, birds, and is surrounded by willows and other greenery. In 2007, Archbishop Winski once again petitioned to Rome request the honor of designating the shrine as a minor basilica, and in 2009 this was granted by Pope Benedict XVI. On August 22, 2009, the Basilica of the National Shrine of Mary, Queen of the Universe was dedicated. Today this house of prayer continues to inspire those who come to worship, pray, and engage in quiet contemplation. Through the celebration of liturgy, prayer, the viewing of sacred art, the receiving of the Sacrament of Reconciliation, faithful from all over the world pilgrims on a journey including those living here in Central Florida find comfort, calm and spiritual renewal amidst the hectic pace of the outside world. Architecture. This lovely Roman Catholic church is a wonderful place to see in Orlando. It was constructed in order to administrate the huge number of Catholic travelers who visit the attractions in the greater Orlando range. It seats 2,000 people and usually masses are carried out here very often. Renowned for its size and beauty, the basilica is a favorite for both locals and tourists. In 2009, it was designated as the 63rd minor basilica in the United States. The church is a hot favorite with tourists rather than churchgoers. It has become a very popular one since the Disney World opened in Orlando. The shrine comprises of the principal temple, the Mother and Child Outdoor Chapel, the Rosary Garden, the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, a gift shop and the Shrine Museum. The church today should not be missed and one can also avail masses here. Visitors are welcome to attend Mass, held at various times throughout the week, as well as experience the basilica's beautiful outdoor chapel, the Museum of Christian Art, and the lush Rosary Garden. The Basilica of the National Shrine of Mary, Queen of the Universe, one of the highlights of 16 great museums and galleries in Orlando. Music and art have long been part of the Basilica of the National Shrine of Mary. Mosaics, paintings, and stained glass adorn the walls of the church, and a professional in-residence chorus makes up the Basilica Choir. The impressive Basilica Concert Series features world-class performers, as well as talented local artists. Facts. The 14-aisle windows are entitled the Magnificat windows. It also ministers to Catholic workers at Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando Resort. It is the nearest Catholic church to Walt Disney World. The outdoor chapel features a bronze sculpture of the Mother and Child by Jerzy Gar. The museum displays church art from around the world. The shrine contains an 8-foot-tall, 2.4 meters, sculpture featuring Mary and baby Jesus bearing the same name Mary, Queen of the Universe, sculpted by Jill Berkey of white marble from Carrara, Italy. In 2015, Bishop John Noonan designated the central door as a holy door as part of the celebration of the Extraordinary Jubilee of Mercy, and opened it on December 13. Feast Day, 22nd August. Annual Feast Day of Basilica of Mary, Queen of the Universe is celebrated on 22nd August. Mass time. Weekdays, 12 o'clock, noon. Saturdays, 6 p.m. Sundays, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 o'clock, noon. Church visiting time. Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Contact info. Mary, Queen of the Universe, 8300, Vineland Avenue, Orlando, Florida 32821, United States. Website, www.mariqueenoftheuniverse.org. How to reach the Basilica. Orlando International Airport in Orlando, Florida, United States is the nearby airport to the Basilica. Tupperware Train Station in Florida, United States is the nearby train station to the Basilica. If you wish to know more about Catholic shrine basilicas, Marian shrines and Marian apparitions, subscribe to our Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. Like and share with your loved ones. For more churches website www.catholicshrinebasilica.com.